morning to each and everyone, especially to you, ma'am. So we are the Group 6 titled Transportation Safety and Economics. So in a microeconomic sense, transportation activities form a portion of a national's total economic product and play a role in building or strengthening a national or regional economy and as an influence in the development of land and other resources. In microeconomic sense, transportation involves relation between firms and individual consumers, the demand of supply of transportations for both passengers and freight, transportation pricing, and the reasons why the transportation system is both regulated and deregulated are among its concern. So, ang microeconomic sense di ay, kung siya ka ng vital day kayo na siya sa ato ang kinabuhi, kaya naman. For example, kanang pag-transport na to sa atong mga products, mga goods and services. And vital po ni siyang transportation sa pag-strengthening sa atong economy, especially pagama sa itong mga infrastructures and building because magamit tawag transportation aron paghatod sa mga materials dito sa lugar nga atong gamanan sa infrastructures. So, transportation. It is the movement of goods and persons from one place to another, and the various means by which such movement is accomplished. The growth of the ability and the need to transport large quantities over long distances at high speeds in comfort and safety has been an index to civilizations and particular of technological process. So, pareho sa mga gipang sa mga unang report, ang transportation day it is the movement of goods from one place to another. So, the growth of the transport, the growth of the ability and the need to transport large quantities over long distances. So, kining transportation di ay magamit di kayo na siya nato. Labi na especially if mag-transport ng isa ka bagay, products and services from one place to another nga dako kayo siyang quantities. And economy. An economy is a complex system of interrelated production, consumption, and exchange activities that ultimately determines how resources are allocated among all the participants. So sa economics di ay, diri nato to makita tong producers, consumers, like consumers then exchange of activities. The production, consumption, and distribution of goods and services combine to fulfill needs of those living and operating within the economy. Transportation's role in strengthening the economy. According to Alexander Hamilton, the Secretary of the Treasury in the 1970s, he believed that the internal improvements were necessary for the nation's economic growth. The word infrastructure is used to describe all the facilities that an economy has in place, including its transportation network of roadways, railroads, trucks, and ports, as well as vehicles and vessels to use them. So, kinideng transportation, na din siya connectivity sa economy. So, from the word infrastructures, kini siya gatong mga networks, transportation networks nga itong ginagamit kayo, which is the roadway, the railroads, trucks, and ports, as well as vehicles and vessels nga itong gipanggamit. Transportation and communications are important in developing and strengthening the social, political, and commercial ties. So, transportation safety. With such a massive and powerful vehicles, it's no surprise that an inadequate resources and insufficient time can lead to a fatal accidents in our roads, rails, and in the air. Our highway are often the scene of fatalities caused by flying truck wheels. Transportation companies have been known to push the limit of loadways or driver hours, and truck inspection stations are overloaded and don't have sufficient means or authority to enforce safety laws. So, diri dahil sa transportation safety, daghan kayong kanang mga vehicles bitaw, mga kanang may tabong nga mga accident, especially on the roads, rails, and sa hangin, which is the airplane. So, kasagaran sa mga cause sa kanang mga fatalities or pagbangga or mga accidents, it's because of kanang kanang nasubra na kabugat ang loads nga gidala sa sakyanan or kanang napasubra na pod ang oras nga gikuan sa mga drivers, especially bitaw sa kumpanya nga pagkuan ilaw yung i-push ilang mga tao nga dapat inani kay naman ko na sila yung mga pangkuanon nga kanang na sila ipang supply bitaw nga mga produkto nga kinahanglan jud maabot on time. Then Road Infrastructure Safety Management or ISM produces an effective and efficient tools to help road authorities to reduce the number of accidents and casualties because design standards cannot guarantee road safety in all conditions. So natin ginatawag nga Road Infrastructure Safety Management. So kini sila ang ga-produce og epektibo og efficient nga tools para tabangan ang atong mga otoridad nga mapagamay, mapahinay nato ang number sa aksidente o sa mga kanang casualties nga kuan dili magarantihan sa road safety nga standards. So 10 consolidated RISM procedures. First is the road safety impact assessment. Second is the efficiency assessment tools. Third, road safety audits. Fourth, network operations. 5, road infrastructure safety performance indicator. 6, network safety ranking. 7, road assessment program. 8, road safety inspection. 9, high risk sites, and 10, in-depth investigations. So road safety impact assessment. It is a strategic comparative analysis of the impact of a new road or substantial modifications to the existing network on the safety performance on the road network at the essential planning stage before the infrastructure project is improved. The purpose is to demonstrate the implications on road safety of different planning alternatives of an infrastructure projects, and they should play an important role when routes are being selected. So kini ding strategic comparative analysis, kini sila ang nag-analyze sa mga posible nga mahimong impact nga mahitabo sa bagong nga roads or sa daan ba, and before bitaw nila himuon ng ginatawag nga infrastructures, agi pa siyang essential planning para mapalesen ang kanang mahitabo nga mga disgrasya. Efficiency assessment tools. Budget for transport in general and road safety in particular should be spent as optimally as possible. Efficiency assessment tools determine the effect for society of a given investment, for instance in road safety, in order to prioritize investment alternatives. Road safety audits. An independent, detailed, systematic, and technical safety check relating the design characteristics of road infrastructure projects covering all stages, from planning to early operations, as to identify in detailed way unsafe features of a road infrastructures. Network operation, it relates to daily management of the infrastructures of a road network, with a particular reference to maintaining road serviceability and safety. Next is road infrastructure safety performance indicator. So safety performance indicators are seen as the measurement that is causally related to crashes or injuries that is used in addition to the figures of accidents or injuries in order to indicate safety performance or understand the process that leads to accident. In road safety, road infrastructure safety performance indicators aim to assess safely hazards by infrastructure's layout and design. Example is the percentage of road network not satisfying safety design standards. So, kaning makita bitaw ninyo diri sa kanang pictures, muna siya ang graph. Ang leading indicators, safety, performance, hazard recognitions, then ang sa PICAS is laging indicators which is the recordable injuries, accident rates, and ang sa to nga may incident. Network safety ranking, a method for identifying, analyzing, and classifying parts of the existing road network according to their potential safety development and accidental cost saving. And road assessment program, this method involved the collection of the road characteristic data, which are then used to identify safety deficits or determine how well the road environments protects the users from death or disabling injury when a crash occurs.
So what is road safety inspection? Road safety inspection is a preventive tool consisting of a regular, systematic, on-site inspection of existing roads, covering the whole road network carried out by trained safety expert teams such as police officer, traffic enforcer, etc. It is resulting in formal report on detected road hazards and safety issues requiring a formal response by the relevant road authority. When you say authority, mauna siya katong mga patrolman or mga police or mga traffic enforcers. Next is higher risk sites. You can see naman sa picture nga mauna siya yung mga accidents, di ba? When you say high risk sites, it's a method to identify, analyze, and rank sections of the road network which have been in operations for more than 3 years and upon which a large number of fatal accidents in proportion to the traffic flow have occurred. So, example ani kanang sa mga bangin or mga korbada, diha kasagaraan nga mo-occur ang accidents, di ba? The next. In-depth investigation. In-depth investigation is the acquisition of all the relevant information and the identification of one or several of the following. First is the cause or causes of the accidents. Nung sa katong akong gipang istorya, like sa mga korbada, mga causes niya, like the high speed nila or mga load sa yung sakyanan, di na ma-carried out sa vehicle. Second is the injuries or injury mechanism and injury outcomes, which is katong mga injury nga makuha sa mga tao nga na involved sa accidents. Third is how the accident and the injuries could have been prevented. So diri na mo occur ang atoang transportation safety or diri na ma-connect ang atoang topic karon. Considering the entire life cycle of a road infrastructure, there are 6 main stages of development that can be identified. First is planning and design. Di gini siya mawala. Then second is construction and pre-opening. So mauna ni siya ang channel. Third is normal operation. Fourth is maintenance and renewal. Fifth is error correction and hazard elimination. Sixth is major upgrading and renewal. One further aspect to consider is related to the specific needs of a country, linked mainly to the peculiarities of the roads and their uses of each country. This aspect is important especially for developing countries, such as parehas sa atua, developing countries pamaning Philippines, which an uncontrolled growth of population and vehicles is often accompanied by an inadequately planned road networks and mixture of road users in context designed only for motor vehicles. For example, pedestrian crossing motorways. The road infrastructure safety management. So, mao ni siya ang flow and the purpose or meaning. So, first is planning and design. Road safety impact assessment. Second is efficiency assessment tools. And third is road safety audit. Diri na kabuta, diri na bilong ang road safety audit nga gi-explain na gikan ni Sadromi. Second phase is construction and pre-opening. And again, road safety audit gapon. Ang normal operation, na dito na bilong ang road network operation, safety performance indicator, and network safety ranking. For maintenance and renewal, road network operation, consist ra gyapon siya, and road safety inspection, and diri ang inspection, and the road assessment program. For error correction, hazard elimination, high risk site is also belong ani. Road safety inspection, di gyapon siya mawala, like sa investigation or inspect. Then third is road assessment program and in-depth investigation. Lastly is the major upgrading and renewal. Then sa aning nga part, nag-belong siya sa road safety impact assessment. Dapat natay assessment anin so that ma-upgrade, maka-renew taog bagong plan or design to improve, to prevent accidents when it comes to transportation. Second is efficiency assessment tools, which is mag-analyze or mag-measure kung kana siya ba nga plan is effective. So next is the role of road transport in economic development. It is effective and efficient transportation provide economic benefits that results in multiple effects such as better accessibility to markets, employment, and additional investments. Consequently, citizens who are deprived of transportation infrastructure miss out on several economic opportunities. The development role transport plays in an economy makes it a derived demand as the sector in itself is not productive but is responsive to forces generation in the production and the consumption sectors. Parehas nato karon sa kahimtang sa ato ang diri sa Philippines, like sa una gamay pa ang mga ginagamit nga transportation vehicles, vessels, or karon nga dili na nato mapugnan, daghan na kayong consume, daga na kayong gamit og mga transportation nga kuan, pero nga tong transportation planning is not enough to prevent accidents. Then generally, a model for transportation and economic development can be summarized as providing infrastructure. First is providing infrastructure. Second is improving physical accessibility. Naragya po makita na to ang planning dito. Then sunod is enhancing mobility, the upgrading, mo na siya, or renewal. And lastly is improving welfare, the safety of the consumers, the safety of the people. Road safety engineering. Road safety engineering is a process based on analysis of road and traffic related accident information, which applies engineering principles in order to identify road design or traffic management improvements that will reduce the number and severity of road accidents in the most cost-effective manner. And making the road network safer through engineering measures offers the most effective way of reducing collisions in the short to medium term by tackling problems in the road environment directly and by seeking to counter or reduce the scope for inappropriate road user behavior or performance. Yes, as in civil engineering, nagkuan man ta sa highway, railroads, our main kaning important role nga kuan subject is the safety of the people, nga while kuan sa transport sila, dapat safe sila. So our road safety engineers can identify the relationship between various road design elements and accidents risk and focus implementation of this best practice. Road safety engineering essentially involves the following: collision or accident investigation. It is known as AI. It is a reactive process involving hotspot investigation and analysis of collision and casualties statistics and trends, identifying location that shows higher than average collision rates. Second is collision or accident reduction, known as AR. Our road safety engineers can use the accident investigation process to make a judgment as to whether any of the causation factors highlighted within an existing known pattern can be addressed through safety engineering remedial measures, and thus help to reduce the collision frequency or severity at that site. And if so are, there are a number of potential solutions and which ones are the best for each particular site. Third is collision or accident prevention, AP, or known as accident prevention. It is a road safety engineer that follows the AI or accident investigation and accident reduction process by devising an effective road safety or plan and danger reduction plans, as well as advising road safety education, training, and publicity programs. The road safety engineer also implements the best practice in AP through the process of road safety auditing, which is proactive process. So that's all for the process of the transportation safety.
The RSM experience of road safety engineering is based on involvement in the following types of project and schemes. First, infrastructural feasibility studies including road signs and alignment. Our knowledge of collision trends and occurrence enables us to offer best advice on optimizing horizontal and vertical alignment designs, including junctions at preliminary design stages. Second, development of capital programs and route and area studies for collision investigation, collision reduction, collision prevention, and remedial measures. Next, hotspot analysis of collision clusters and recommendation on remedial solutions such as signings, road marking, improvement and lining, resurfacing, anti-skid, traffic calming, traffic management, junction improvements, parking management, safety cameras, vehicle activated signs, lighting, amendment of traffic regulation orders, strategic route signing, safer route to school, 20 mile per hour zone, pedestrian facilities, cycling facilities, facilities for mobility impaired, public lighting, drainage improvements, resurfacing and skid resistance programming, utility integration, and etc. Detailed collision investigation and analysis of statistics trends utilizing graphical interface system or GIS, from collision analysis of raw data to production of stick and bubble diagrams and interpretation of validated data to determine any significant recurrent collision patterns at each site, along with likely causation and contributory factors. Identifying and ranking locations showing higher than average collision rates according to the total number of collision and severity on single sites, area, mass action, or linear routes such as section of main roads. The type of collision occurring at each location can be viewed at and patterns such as high levels of speeding, red light running, or pedestrian casualties can be identified, with conclusion always supplemented by site visit. The road safety engineering and AI process entails highlighting cases where collision may have occurred due to highway factors such as road signs, traffic, and environmental conditions, and judging whether any of the causation factors highlighted within an existing known pattern could be addressed through safety engineering remedial measures, thus helping to reduce the collision frequency severity at that site. Identification of all possible site-specific solution and examination of collision trends over a long time frame to identify key areas to address, such as recurring collisions involvement a certain road user type and certain age groups. RSM can also advise on the implementation of best practice and the proactive identification and assessment of potential risk during the design construction stage on all new infrastructure projects or roads projects which involve change to current layout to minimize or prevent collision occurring in the future. Safety scheme implementation. Under this are the strategic management and planning for casualty, design of traffic calming and speed management scheme, signal control junction and upgrades, design of pedestrian and cycling facilities, parking facilities, signing and lining scheme, bus priority measures, safe routes to school, traffic management, traffic regulatory order regulation, area regeneration study, cost benefit analysis and prioritization of all remedial measures through economic assessment and first year rate of return or FYRR analysis enabling best value practice to be implemented. Transportation safety for air transportation. Air transportation is expected to grow substantially in the coming decades. It enjoys a good safety record as can be derived from relative safety standards. But public perception of safety is focused on the absolute safety record rather than the relative one. This has stimulated to set new safety targets in air transport. In order to achieve this, a good knowledge of root causes of aviation accident and the implications of new technologies and procedures must be understood. The human factor plays an important role in aviation safety. The environment in which aircraft operate is an also important contributing factor. New safety standards are needed for the aircraft engines, maintenance, ATC, and etc. to prevent accident from happening and to reduce the impact of accident by making them survivable. As traffic volumes are increasing, the absolute number of accidents increases at the same rate. This not only result in a public image of unsafety, which could influence the demand for air transport. It also result in a substantial increase in liability claims, which ultimately will influence the cost of air travel. The main areas of future research areas are the following. System monitoring. Statistical data analysis provides a means to understand the causes of accidents. Although in most cases, accidents are the combined result of several causes and conditions. Analysis of causal relationship has shown that there are limited number of crucial factors that contribute to accidents. The human factor. The human factor plays an important role in aviation accident and incidents. Introducing new equipment without fully taking into account the human-machine interface or HMI will lead to increased error levels, increased training requirements, and resistance to use new technology. The operational environment. Aircraft operate in a harsh environment. Weather conditions often contribute to aviation unsafety. Systems such as an advanced onboard warning system, data link communication, satellite navigations, and surveillance help the crew to maintain situational awareness and prevent uncontrolled flight. European research on external hazards, the understanding of the phenomena, the prediction, detection, warning, and avoidance is supported by a network of specialists. Crash survivability. Every FSR should address crash survivability directly. The investigation of injuries and death from crashes which can be shown to be survivable will identify problems such as weak to seat to floor tie downs, non-crash worthy fuel systems, helmets that offer marginal head injury protection or that may themselves cause lethal injuries, and rudder pedals that fracture tibia and hinder skate. For too long, it has been assumed that injuries or fatalities natural incident sequences. It is neither luck nor fate when an aviator survives. The components of survivability. Survivability requires two things: the presence of tolerable deceleration forces and the maintenance of volume of space consistent with life. This section highlights the mathematics of crash force calculation and considers the elemental components of survivability. Calculating the crash force in an incident is an imperfect art. Using known speeds, stopping distance, and gravity constants, it is relatively simple to calculate the deceleration force imposed on an airframe. These numbers must be viewed from the perspective of the air crewman, for whom or other factors serve to increase or decrease the acceleration or G forces he must tolerate to survive. A reference tool is the acronym CREEP. The CREEP factors are C. Container, R. Restraints, E. Environment, E. Energy absorption, and P. Post-crash factors. Container. An airframe which disintegrates allows penetration by objects or which fails to otherwise preserve an appropriate volume of living space can produce or contribute to injuries. This use in a large airframes of brittle alloys that trade off pressurization integrity for impact resistance that has been source of container problems. Another obvious example is the invasion of the aircrew living space by helicopter transmission after the main rotor blades strike the ground. The limited space between crew seats and control dashboards or outside objects with which the crew can collide is also a container problem. The thoughtful investigator will evaluate the living space remaining after the impact force has been dissipated. Remembering that the ductile metals can rebound after they have compromised volume, leaving few traces or their brief invasion into the aircrew compartment. Restraint system. To secure an aircrewman with a system of straps designed to withstand a 10,000 pound load is futile unless the system is maintained and used properly. Worn or damaged straps may fail to reduce loading, and used restraints speak for themselves. Loosely secured restraints present a special problem because of the dynamic overshoot. This occurs when the aircraft has begun deceleration over time before the crewman actually impinges in his straps, which may either fail or rebound. Crash force calculation under the latter circumstances will be in error by at least factor of 2. Environment. There are many features of the cockpit environment which affect the ability of an aviator to withstand the crash forces. Pyrolyzation, products from fires involving electrical insulation, and polyurethane, sound attenuating or decorative panels can produce in-flight incapacitation, which reduces survival chances. The same is true for the volatile hydrocarbons present in a cockpit fire at low ambient pressures with or without the presence of open flame. The toxicological properties of substance in a sea level environment may be substantially altered when the event occurs at altitude. Another environmental factor which influences crash survivability is the speed with which emergency egress can be accomplished. If an aircrewman or the non-aircrewman has been trained in a specific emergency exit procedures, he is then confronted with unanticipated impediments to a fast exit. Survival chances decrease. The capability of crewmen to egress rapidly must be considered in assessing survivability. Energy absorption. The more energy absorption that occurs in the airframe before the aircrewman's body becomes the absorber, the safer the crewman. Honeycomb construction, stroking seat, and expendable space and metal are a few of the techniques available to the engineer for increasing survivability. Landing gears that can absorb a sink rate of 35 feet per second are expensive, but they are a reality and will increase the chances for survival. It is only necessary that the energy absorption device be built to absorb a portion of impact in a 4G crash. man can normally handle the remaining 20.
Other reporting about transportation system for water transportation. The waterway play a significant role in the transportation system of many developing countries because of their lower cost and higher accessibility compared to the alternatives, creating a great demand for transportation of goods and passengers. However, this mode of transportation has become vulnerable due to the limitation of resources, lack of care, and the absence of technology to maintain and monitor the waterways and the waterways vehicles. The predominant reasons for mishaps in the waterways are overloading, storms, cyclones, and collisions. In order to ensure safety, the vehicle need to stop overloading passengers, be as safe as possible from natural calamities, collisions, and be taken for regular maintenance. So, since nakaingon na dire nga naaray limitation ang water transportation, it also has drawbacks due sa panahon. It may be convenient na naatay type of water transportation, pero dapat i-mind sad nato ang mga possible na mahitabo while riding this type of transportation system. The safety of the passengers, to be exact, maunay dapat i-monitor ang panahon para makalikay ta sa dili maayong situation. Water safety. There are government and non-government bodies in the field of water safety, including maritime, search and rescue organization, lifeguard association, and other safety organization for which water safety is just a part of their scope. The following are the associated occupations. Lifeguard. A lifeguard rescuer who is supervise a safety and rescue of swimmer, surfer, and other water sports participants such as swimming in the pool, water park, beach, spa, river, and lake. Lifeguards are trained in swimming and CPR or AED. First aid, certified in water rescue using a variety of aids and equipment depending on the requirements of their particular venue. In some areas, lifeguards are part of the emergency service system to incidents. In some communities, lifeguard may function as the primary EMS provider. Coast Guard. A Coast Guard is a maritime security organization of a country. The term covers wide range of responsibilities in different countries, from being a heavily armed military force with customs and security duties to a volunteer organization tasked with a search and rescue without law enforcement authority. In most countries, a typical Coast Guard's function are distinct from those who are Navy and the transit police, while in some countries it has similarities to both. Lifeboat service. A rescue lifeboat is a rescue craft which is used to attend vessels in distress or its survivors to rescue crew or passengers. It can be hand-pulled, sail-powered, or powered by an engine. Lifeboats may be rigid inflatable or rigid inflatable combination hulled vessels. There are generally three types of boats: inland, inshore, and offshore. A rescue lifeboat is a boat designed with specialized features for searching and for rescuing people in peril at sea or in estuaries, where practicable lifeboats will usually perform minor salvage and towing operations to assist mariners in distress and prevent navigational hazards. So since na-discuss naman nato ang types sa water transportation, dapat na jud tayo maingon na water safety measures like Coast Guard na makatabang nato if ever man gani na ay trahedya na mahitabo like kanang milubog ang barko, ilaan ang responsibility na mo respond sa maingon nga panghitabo. Sa kuan, lifeboat, this is a type of vehicle na dapat na naa sa mga barko in case of emergency. Kani siya ang magsilbing rescue vehicle sa dagat or sa laing type of waterways.
Go.
Ambulance boats, paramedic services. Ambulance boats are boats that provide emergency medical assistance and services to areas that are remote and surrounded by water body. These ambulance boats are very similar to the traditional ambulance and are equipped with all the necessary gadgets including ventilators, surgery equipment, a team of paramedics, and other necessary equipment to provide aid to the victim. In case of emergency, some lifeguard vessels or lifeboats can also be used as ambulances to transport victims or casualties. Ambulance boat are designed with the sole purpose of providing the most efficient medical services to areas that are normally unfortunate enough to be secluded from. They are also designed to go faster than normal boats so that it reach the affected area more quickly. Since the ambulance boats are already equipped with medical lockers, surgical equipments, medical beds, nursing room, and paramedics, it will become easier and more efficient for people in the need to get the required medical assistance. The paramedical staff on board the vessel is trained in field and medical supplies are regularly updated. All in all, transportation safety has a large impact to the economic development because without safety, while transporting products of goods and services, the economy will lose their necessary income, and in addition, shortage of products will occur. Thus, transportation is a basic enabler of economic activity and ultimately helps to shape society material success. A proper understanding of economic implications of transportation choices can facilitate identifying the most effective way to direct public and private investments in infrastructures and prioritize the investment.
Thank you for listening. That will be all for our reporting, and we hope you learned something.